Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ Fisher, Dynasty at House, Addison Hayes at Amaze Hayes _. We are here to use DynastyLeagueFootball.com and all of its finding and analyzing awesomeness and YouTube goodness, because that's where we are, to help all of you out there make some trades, learn some values, help me make some trades and learn some values because you think
Hey,
I do
I
this
saw
because I
you
want
made
to?
2 trades over the past 2 days in TA11, I saw. You're out here making deals.
Yeah, they're not good. They're just trades. And I like talking to Addison, not because I like him, but because he's smart. So I learn things as we do this.
Mhm.
All right. I don't dislike him, but I don't like him. We're like that middle spot where I just feel
Yeah, it's like a coworker,
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Work acquaintances. That's what
Yep.
we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today I want to talk about our fallen kings. I want to talk about what I said was the ex number ones at their position, to which Addison shamed me for being mean and said, well, I called them former number ones, to which I called him a jerk for trying to make me feel bad. When I was thinking about Jonathan Taylor, I was thinking about how 2 years ago when he was the running back one, it almost felt disingenuous to me. Like, yes, he finished the season as the running back one. Yes, he became the dynasty running back one after that, which honestly, that almost by default he was going to be because he just finished the season and because he was the youngest and the most productive at the time. But he didn't feel like the running back one. Like, we just got so used to, going back even like a little further, Gurley, CMC, CMC McCaffrey, CMC, Barkley, Kamara, like all of these players that elevated the running back position, like just separated themselves from the rest. And then I stopped and I thought, it took Jonathan Taylor 4 games after Derrick Henry got hurt to catch up to Derrick Henry's score. And that doesn't feel great about the running back one. So I never really got behind his value. And years passed and a year passed, and Jonathan Taylor did through most of last season. And then we now just got Bijan. Brees Hall showed how good he was, and now he's getting healthy again. Christian McCaffrey just does not care that he is 27, 28 years old. We have other players coming in, doing well. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs might even be jumping Jonathan Taylor with a strong game at this point, a strong preseason game even. So and that's my golden spot for running backs. But I want to see how I feel about these prices here right now to see if he's someone I think he's worth going for. And the first trade we have is JT and the 104 for the 101. Again, one quarterback. So here we are talking Jonathan Taylor and we'll just say Jordan Addison for Bijan. And I would take the package side. Oh, right. Numbers. Jonathan Taylor, 838. The 104, 371 for a total of 1209. And the 101 in at 910. This falls into that perfect, you should be overpaying for the better piece.
Mhm.
The 101 being one of the best pieces you can get.
Mhm.
So, if not I don't remember. I know in Superflex scoring, there are quarterbacks and a couple of players above that. I'm guessing this is probably the third best asset in one quarterback besides Chase and Jefferson.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah, so you're paying up. You're paying up a decent amount. If Bijan comes out and he is Bijan, it'll suck a little bit. Not gonna lie. But you're walking in with Jonathan Taylor, who is still only 24 years old, will now have a mobile quarterback in front of him, which A, is good for the efficiency of a running back, and B, will spread the defense out enough where it's not just like, all right, well, they got nothing except for Jonathan Taylor because their quarterback can't throw the ball. So let's 12 men in the box. How did they get the 12th guy on there? Just nobody pays attention. That's why. So I think this is going to open things up for Jonathan Taylor a little bit, which I like. So Jonathan Taylor, let's say he finishes top 5, top 6, Bijan 1 or 2. I still feel good about that, knowing I have Jordan Addison, who I think will come in and be productive right away and has a chance to creep into that top 12, top 10-ish wide receivers on a good season this year, because that's what we do when there's a rookie wide receiver who finishes top 20-ish. He's top 10 the next season.
Right.
Look at Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, who literally finished in the 20s, but they're wide receiver 6 and 7 right now. So I think from a value standpoint and from a production standpoint, I want the package.
There is a tweet that I saw on Twitter that said that over the last 10 seasons, the RB1 overall has averaged 80 receptions in that season. And only 2 of those 10 RB1 overalls in the last 10 years had less than 70 receptions. And the
That's a
one
very specific range.
that's it at least, so 70 plus receptions is basically the number you want to hit to finish as the RB1 overall. That's how McCaffrey was super valuable. You go back, I mean, 10 years ago, we're talking about like Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Austin
Yep.
Eckler has been doing it. That type of receiving volume is important in PPR leagues. The one running back who had the lowest amount who finishes the RB1, to your point of why he felt disingenuous, was Jonathan Taylor, who had 40 receptions
Oy.
that year and finished as the RB1 because it seemed like we had a little bit more injuries than normal that year, just kind of by default. I mean, he was phenomenal on the ground, but you need that receiving work to be great. The reason why I bring that up is if we expect Bijan Robinson to like break fantasy, we kind of have to expect him to be heavily involved in the receiving game, which I don't think that he can't. But I like 70 receptions is a pretty high number for him to get to when we're already, we're like, please, Atlanta, give Kyle Pitts some volume, give Drake London some volume. And now we're like, we want Bijan Robinson to get that kind of a volume for him to be the RB1 overall. It's kind of something that comes into play here. And basically, my whole entire point for all this is there might not be a major difference between Jonathan Taylor and Bijan Robinson in terms of both being really good on the ground, not super heavily involved in the receiving game. If they're getting 3 receptions a game, like that's good. That's not elite. You know what I'm saying?
I need
And
more than
so if you're trading down from Bijan to Jonathan Taylor, it seems like a very comparable running back. Yes, you're gaining a couple years of age, but JT has proven that he can be phenomenal. And then you're getting the 1.04. Like, I'm not just trading down from Bijan to JT just to do it. You're getting the 1.04 attached onto it, which, like you said, is Jordan Addison. It's Quentin Johnston. Zay Flower, whoever you want out of all those guys, you're getting that on top. So I think this is a phenomenal trade down. You and I, we both love and talk about all the time trading down to the running back position. I think this is a perfect way to do that with the 101.
The next trade is an interesting one. It is Jonathan Taylor and Christian Kirk for Austin Eckler and Devontae Adams. Taylor at 838, Christian Kirk at 225 for a total of 1064. Austin Eckler 591, Devontae Adams 572 for a total of 1163. Ugh. That age gap is killer.
But
and
the fantasy points.
The fantasy, I know, like, if it was someone at the same value besides Christian Kirk, I would probably say just give me the youth. But the problem is Christian Kirk is now completely losing every single one of his targets because Calvin Ridley's coming back and he's going to get every single target and take them all for touchdowns.
Yep, exactly.
So I don't know why Christian Kirk is still in the NFL at this point because there's just no point to it. But in somewhat more seriousness, because we're never completely serious, I think that's really what it is. I think it is Christian Kirk throwing it off for me, that I think I want someone I like or I think is a little more dependable than this. Because we know this year, Eckler and Devontae Adams are going to do really well. Don't give me any of that but Jimmy Garoppolo stuff. It was Derek Carr last year. Nah, not too different. And Austin Eckler, man, like, he probably only has this last year of relevance because he's probably off the Chargers next season, and he's a 29-year-old running back on a new team, in which case his value is just in the tank. He might put up decent points on another team, but I don't think he'll get the usage, or at least the kind of usage that he gets on the Chargers anywhere else. So I love the idea of taking a step back from them, even if you're competing, because you are in that, well, you're a year too late for being a year early or a year late, but like, so you're like, now's the right time. Now's the time where if you're not sure you're going to win, maybe you do take that step back age-wise. And that's exactly what this is. So I like it. The value's close enough, but I wish it was a different wide receiver.
That's why I was looking at the wide receivers in Christian Kirk's range. There's really nobody at the age range that we're looking at. Deontay Johnson's the next closest. Yeah, but like you're talking like guys like Amari Cooper, Mike Evans.
I would probably do it with Cooper. I'm pretty in on Cooper this year.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to find a guy who like the trade down in terms of age was solid. Like if you go up a little bit higher in the 260s and 270s, you get Pickens and Jamison Williams and Jahan Dotson. So you're in on, yeah. See, I think this is a trade of like fantasy points versus more dynasty value, because you could really enjoy your fantasy season this year with Austin Eckler and Devontae Adams for this deal. But then, you know, things could happen like so quickly. Like Austin Eckler is going to be 29 years old next year, and he could retire. He could get cut. He could get hurt, and now he's a 29-year-old coming off of a major injury. You know, that could happen so quickly to where now Austin Eckler is being valued like he's James Conner, which is like a third of that value. Devontae Adams, like I know you just said that is Jimmy G. He did well with Carr, so it's Jimmy G. Blah blah. But like, what if he starts to slow down? You know, what if the Jimmy G offense isn't that good because his ADOT's really low? He's not catching as many touchdowns. Now we're talking about a Devontae Adams as a 31-year-old who is like, you know, Mike Evans, who's DeAndre Hopkins. What if he gets hurt? There's a lot of stuff that could quickly happen between now and next May, to where this trade is not basically even now, but it's now 1,000 points on the JT Kirk side to 600 points on the Eckler Devontae Adams side. So you really got to weigh that out. I don't know if this is a deal that I'd be doing right now. I do agree though, Christian Kirk does not feel like the best number 2 asset on that side.
Right. And to trade for Jonathan Taylor, you are competing still, which is why I said give me Amari Cooper here, because I think Cooper is going to be a very solid, maybe higher end wide receiver too, probably more to the middle or the low, but he's still the main pass catcher in what will be a better offense than it was at the end of the year. And
Until
if you do believe that
Bell
Deshaun Watson is coming back to anywhere close to what he used to be, it's going to be good for Amari Cooper.
Right.
Whew. All right, let's move down now to AJ Brown. Touchdown, AJ Brown. 12 team, 1 quarterback. Again, apparently was the wide receiver 1 before the emergence of Justin Jefferson, before, again, the emergence of Jamar Chase. And sure, I have always been a fan of AJ Brown, the player. I remember just screaming at my computer during the draft in 2019 when the Seahawks continuously passed on him. Can't get sad that they took DK Metcalf, who we're about to talk about also. But I love AJ Brown. And then he just kept getting those soft tissue injuries. I'm just like, just give me a season. Give me 1 season where you don't miss 2-3 games and hobble for a 4th. And I'll be all in. Apparently the weather in Philly was enough to do it, because he didn't miss a game. So look out for DeAndre Swift, because he ain't going to miss a game either. 1 for 1. That matters. That's what facts.
Exactly.
As the kids say.
Yeah. No caps.
Sure. So in a 12-team, 1 quarterback league, AJ Brown got traded for DK Metcalf and Rashad White. AJ Brown in at 913, DK Metcalf 674, Rashad White 227, for a total of 901. So practically even. Okay, so let me ask you before we go, is there a reason we aren't higher on Rashad White right now?
It's 100%, I think, still the belief that they're either going to add somebody or that Rashad White is not like great. That's the only thing right now. Or maybe it's we really haven't seen it from Rashad White. Also, like we
good when Fournette was hurt last season.
I mean, he was fantastic over the second half of the season, and that was with Leonard Fournette in and out of the lineup at multiple points during the second half. But it's just like Rashad White is Tony Pollard at like 75% of the price. That's essentially what we have right now.
I like it.
And yeah, that I really, really like Rashad White. So I've been saying to buy him now for like 5 months. So it works.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And, and I agree. I get it. The offense is going to not be as good because that's what happens to offenses when you lose Tom Brady. Even like 70% Tom Brady is better than 100% most of the quarterbacks in the league still. You got like 5 or 6 at this point where you're like, all right, I'll take 80%, 90% Jalen Hurts, not Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen over 70% Tom Brady. But that's probably it. you know,
basically.
like Trevor Lawrence, I'm there because I'm just a fan, but like we haven't super seen him be able to. But like, yeah, so Tom Brady's gone, and we're talking about Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask.
Gross.
Yeah, not great. But to me, right now, his only competition is Sean Tucker, which I get that we liked him, but he still went undrafted. Don't get me wrong, I have scooped him up in almost every single league with my last pick of the draft, or once or twice on the waiver wire after the draft.
Whoa.
That surprised me. It doesn't seem like there's any talk whatsoever about maybe trying to shuffle Rashad White onto your team, which means I'm going to go try and do it. And everyone's going to be like, no, what are you talking about? He has no competition. I know, but why does no one else seem to say it until I try and trade for him? Because that's what happens.
You should go try and do that before Sunday, because there may or may not be a video about it. So
You're the worst. And by worst, I mean you're good at your job, but whatever.
you have 4 days.
All right. Okay, so for this trade itself, I am higher on DK Metcalf than a lot of people. I think that offense is going to be very good. I wish JSN went somewhere else. I whatever, but still, the 3 wide receivers of DK, Lockett, and JSN are going to be so good that DK is going to see more single coverage than he's ever seen before. And that could equal very good things for him. So I'm here for it. I really like him. I'm pretty big on Rashad White. So I think I do this. I think I take that downgrade from AJ Brown to DK Metcalf, getting a guy that I think can be a pretty strong running back too, at what I think will probably be less than 5 points per game at wide receiver. Because with most of my teams, Rashad White might be the best running back on my team.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. I think this is a good trade on both sides. I think this is
for sure.
Yeah, I think this is a great way to trade up if you just want to remove the question marks and maybe like the insecurity, the unsureness of what is DK Metcalf with JSN, the risk on Rashad White that, yeah, maybe you get a really good season this year as like a top 18, top 15 running back, but then like the I feel like the clock is ticking for him too, just as much as it is for Dameon Pierce or Isaiah Pacheco. Even though he was a day 2 running back, like as a third rounder, it still just doesn't feel like he's their long-term solution in Tampa Bay.
Oh, I most likely not. But the thing is, Tampa Bay seems to be on their way for a rebuild. So how long until they address the running back position? You have at least this season. They're not going to, unless they pull a Jets and accidentally come close to making the playoffs, they're not going to do anything to running back.
Right. So that's why I see both sides of it. I think it's a good trade to go up and get AJ Brown if you just want to go get him. I also think it's a good trade to break him down if you want, a wide receiver that can do, like you said, 85, 90% of AJ Brown's production, and then pick up an RB2 who has the potential to have RB1 spike weeks and be really good for you and fill out your roster. It's a great way to go about it, I think, on both sides of the equation. If it were me, I'd probably just pick AJ Brown. I love just trading up at the wide receiver position, just having those studs that you don't even have to think about every week. Not saying DK Metcalf isn't that. It's just AJ Brown is much, much more of that.
We've seen studliness out of AJ Brown. We've seen really good out of DK Metcalf.
Exactly. So I think it's a great trade.
Yeah,
all the way around.
I like it. All right, the next one we have scroll. AJ Brown for Josh Jacobs and a 24 first. Whew. AJ Brown 913, Josh Jacobs 543, 24 first, 247 for a total of 790. So I have been on the defending Josh Jacobs side for this whole offseason Literally nothing's changed. That offense is more or less the same as it was before to me. Josh Jacobs is on the tag. Running backs on the tag. Just get run into the ground. Just smushed into the ground. So you want this. You want these points. I would still easily give up Josh Jacobs in a future first for AJ Brown. Let the wide receiver bias fly. Sure, that's fine. Call it what you will. The analyzer has this as 120 points difference, which is pretty strong. I mean, looking down a little bit, that's practically Pat Freiermuth. It's a decent player. Probably like a mid-second pick almost. I just, like you said, AJ Brown's that stud. He's that dude. He was wide receiver. He's the wide receiver 3 in ADP right now. I can't remember how he finished, but he finished really, really high.
Really high.
He did really, really well. And again, that offense lost their offensive coordinator who was growing stale anyway. I love that they got rid of that guy, Nat. Well, they let him go interview that he got a job. They didn't necessarily lose him, but they allowed him to leave, as opposed to the Ravens, who hung on to Greg Roman for 3 years too long.
Right.
So I'm here for this. I don't think that offense is going to get worse. So yeah, go give me the pass catcher one, the wide receiver one, call him whatever you will. Go give me that guy in that offense. Because also, if I'm trading back and getting a first, I don't want a running back. It's just the wrong move for me. And also, Josh Jacobs isn't one that you can move very easily unless you're patient to wait until the season starts, and I don't have that patience.
Right. Yeah, this trade is very easily the AJ Brown trade. And honestly, I had trouble finding a second deal in here that was good to talk about. And I actually tweeted out a list of a handful of trades for AJ Brown that have all happened in the month of May that are all just so easily the AJ Brown side. It's kind of crazy that to me, I don't think players that are seen as top 5 non-quarterback dynasty assets, they're not buys. You don't just go and say oh, go buy AJ Brown right now, because duh, that would be great if you could just go buy AJ Brown. But also, the person who has AJ Brown isn't going to sell, for a trade that you think is a buy. But in actuality, you have this kind of a trade. You have trades like we talked about just before the show, AJ Brown and Joe Mixon for Treylon Burks, Dameon Pierce in the 109 in a 1 quarterback league. You got AJ Brown for Michael Pittman in the 110. AJ Brown and J.K. Dobbins for Stephon Diggs and Isaiah Pacheco. I don't even know what that is. This is all in the month of May. And they're all, it's
fine.
Weird.
I'll go trade for AJ Brown too.
That's basically just, again, every league is its own market. So these could be some sort of, it's just weird that it's just there just seems to be more and more of these kind of deals happening now that just seems like AJ Brown is very acquirable. And that's kind of the thing too with these top end assets is a buy window for them means that they're just acquirable. Normally these guys aren't you're not going out and buying Justin Jefferson, buying Jamar Chase because their price is just obscene. You could do way more things for that, what you're giving to go get those guys, than just going to get JJ or Jamar Chase. But AJ Brown just seems very acquirable right now. Just give it a shot, see what happens. Maybe the guy values AJ Brown highly and isn't going to give you a 95-cent discount on the dollar. But if he is, well, you just bought AJ Brown.
All right, I should probably unmute you on Twitter so I can see these things that you tweet out.
Yeah, well, that's up to you. It's your own timeline.
We'll see if you've earned it. The next player we are talking about is Travis Kelce, and he is honestly still my tight end one. But I know that is not necessarily the popular opinion. He has probably fallen to 3 to a lot of people because value-wise, I get it. Pitts is still Kyle Pitts. I don't care what you are thinking in your head right now. He did not bomb year 1. He was really freaking good. Most tight ends do not get 1,000 yards as a rookie.
Most, you mean every single one but one?
Literally ever. Yes, whatever. I was trying to not make it sound as fantastical as it was. So, imagine if he caught 4. Just make it 4. He would be the god of tight ends. He would be the next Travis. He would be Travis Kelce already, even though Kelce catches 16. Doesn't matter. He would be up there, and he didn't. He caught 1 touchdown, so it is what it is. But I don't care how old Travis Kelce is. 33. Don't care. You see what that man looks like? That man is like sculpted from marble. His nickname is Zeus, and he looks like statues of Zeus. Like he will play until he doesn't want to anymore.
That I was gonna say that's the concern. Like I don't have any more concern about like, oh, like his body's gonna deteriorate and he's gonna drop off like talent wise or athletically. That's not a concern for me anymore, Travis Kelce. It's
No,
just,
like
does he want to play or does he not? Like, is he too bored because he's so good that he just
he
is like,
tried his
nah?
hand at reality TV. It did not go well. Like he had one of those dating shows.
He could go until he's 39 and just be
Yeah,
Tony Gonzalez all over again, or
exactly.
Antonio Gates.
All right, so let's talk about some Travis Kelce trades. Travis Kelce, 12 team, one quarter, a lot of one quarterback trades also. Travis Kelce and Aaron Jones, who man the production this year, for a 24 first and Pat Fryermuth. That is not the Pat Fryermuth side. Travis Kelce, 471. Aaron Jones, 244 for a total of 714. 24 first at 247. Pat Fryermuth at 156 for a total of 420. Yeah, there's again, what made you add Aaron Jones to Travis Kelce for this?
Yeah. So does it change?
No.
I had to include, because this is
No.
a Debbie league. So that 24 first is actually Emeka Egbuka, who is the consensus wide receiver 2 right now in next year's class. And in
So
a one quarterback league.
Wait. You're telling me he's not the wide receiver 1.
Well, no.
So I don't care.
If 99% of the wide receivers in the last 10 years were in this class next year, they would also not be the wide receiver 1.
Bloodlines, baby. It's not. It's no one's fault. There's nothing you can do about it.
But essentially, this is saying that this is like, throw out the fact that we know that this is Emeka Egbuka because it's the Debbie league. But let's just say that you know that this is a top 5 pick that is not Marvin Harrison Jr. next year in a one quarterback league.
I'd like it more if it were actually Marvin Harrison.
At what
is he, in his lower 40s? So I mean, like I would prefer Marvin Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
No, like this is I get it. This is someone trying to get younger. This is probably the start of a rebuild. I don't know why you get a tight end in that, but take Aaron Jones out of this, and this is still so easily Travis Kelce to me. Like, if you are trying to trade away Travis Kelce, I will give you the unfair advice of the advice that I can't follow. You got to be patient. You got to wait. You got to wait until not necessarily point scoring season, but like preseason, that time where people start worrying about their lineups.
Redraft
and they're like,
season.
Yeah, like when redraft starts, redraft drafts start, which honestly is like 2 months at this point. Some people go crazy and start drafting in July, but then you'll wait until the end of August. But like once that starts coming around, it'll just be like, oh, I only have Muth, and Muth is good, but there's no upside there. Let me go get Travis Kelce, and then no one is taking Muth and a 24 first for Kelce at that point.
Right.
Like that's.
Yep. This is the perfect time to buy Travis Kelce. Not a good time to sell him. This is essentially the summary on this one.
Yeah, and again, Aaron Jones is going to score points this year because it's going to be a very weird offense, and Aaron Jones is a very do-it-all player, so he will always be on the field, except for probably like something and one where AJ Dillon will go and just barrel over people. So the last trade we have is kind of similar a little bit. We have Travis Kelce for Dallas Goedert and Mike Evans. Kelce, 471. Dallas Goedert, pretty low, 226. And Mike Evans at 193 for a total of 419.5. This is closer because I do value Goddard decently more than Muth, value and production-wise. And Mike Evans, I think he's big enough. Like, I don't know if he's good as he used to be. I know he is that dude where he was a size speed guy, never really had the route running, definitely didn't have any yak whatsoever. But like, if Baker or Kyle Trask are the kind of guys that don't care that a guy is covered, and knows that if you just throw it 2-3 inches too tall, Evans will still catch it and then fall down. Evans can still have a pretty good season, especially in the end zone, because they still don't really have much of a tight end to speak of. So, like, he could.
You take that back on Cade Otton.
Cade Otton, whatever, man. Whatever, man. Like, I'm here for Mike Evans and the Dallas Goedert side, but I would so easily send this for Kelce, like really, really easily.
Mm-hmm. Yep, me too. But so on this trade, like I love the idea of this trade of taking Travis Kelce, going down to Dallas Goedert. You're not only buying back a whole bunch of years, you're not losing like a lot of production. Like you're losing production for sure. But you're not losing like a ton of it, to where if you're able to get whatever that extra piece is something that's like worth it, either for fantasy points or a lot of value that then you can move later on, then that would, like, I think that this is a phenomenal idea. I just don't know, the execution here doesn't work for me, because one, if you're trying to trade off Kelce and you're getting younger, you're taking on a 29-year-old wide receiver who also does not have a lot of value right now because he just lost his quarterback one. He's going to be catching passes from Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. His production's gone down over the past like 2 years. It's just, why did you get Mike Evans? Like, I would have much more, if you're just trying to get younger, why not go for a Jameson Williams or a George Pickens, somebody who has the opportunity to ascend in value, and they're super young. If you want production, then, Amari Cooper, we talked about earlier, Deontay Johnson, you could look at Hollywood Brown or like Calvin Ridley. I feel like there's just many other better options for you in a similar value range that are just going to give you better production, and also have the opportunity to gain value too. I think Evans, will never see him gain any value ever again.
No. Agreed.
So I just, the execution on this one was not ideal.
See, now if again we go back to that last trade, take out Aaron Jones, and we switch it to Dallas Goedert and a 24 first.
Oh my goodness.
I'm here for that.
Dude, that's perfect.
Again, even if playing in that this is the Devy League and completely blanking on the guy's name, not Marvin Harrison Jr. I would be good with that. I would actually feel really good about that, because like you said, the production, like you're probably talking 4 or 5 points a game, which is decent, but it's not killer. And you're getting a stud wide receiver. So I think that's a really, really good, that's the good move. I think, like, squish these trades together and take out the unnecessary parts, and I think we find the right move there. Are you looking up?
It was almost 7 points per game last year.
Yeah.
And that's with no premium whatsoever. That's just normal. In a 1.5 premium, it was, Kelce's at almost 22. It was now an 8-point difference. Well, a little over 7.5 point in 1.5.
In 1.75, Travis Kelce 24.03 points per game. Dallas Goedert 15.2.
Oh man, so 9?
Just about.
That is so unfair, dude. Travis Kelce is so unfair.
See, I love this because I have, again, this is a while ago, showing my age a little bit, even though it wasn't really all that long ago. I used to, like, bring around fake petitions to get Calvin Johnson removed from fantasy football. He just wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair that Calvin Johnson was in fantasy football. And Christian McCaffrey sort of hit that level every once in a while.
That's
Travis Kelce's there.
Yeah, or like LT.
Back then. But like, it's just like, no, not fair. No. Just like 7 points per game over the tight end 2. It's crazy. And it's not the first year he's done it. It's not the only year he's done it.
He's so unfair.
So unfair. And Patrick Mahomes throwing at the ball, and they still won't go out and pay a good wide receiver to come in. Like, they're fine taking their shots at these young, fast guys and just letting Travis Kelce be their pass catcher 1. They're fine, and I'm fine with it.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Go buy Travis Kelce if you
Go
can.
by Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, and Jonathan Taylor, I think.
Mhm.
And that is the motif, that is the theme, that is the other fancy words of things we're trying to tell you to do for this episode of the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ Fisher, Dynasty and Us, Addison Hayes at Maze Hayes _. We'll catch you next time.